Hey guys, my name is John Sparkman. I'm a wedding photographer in Birmingham in the UK, and you can find my work at jdsweddings.com. And today I want to break down the number one, the fastest way, the easiest way to make money as a wedding photographer, and it is this. Take photos and charge someone for it. No, but really, this is a deeper conversation than that, and it is some hard truths if you're a photographer, if you're a starting photographer, if you're an established one and you want to break out from shooting for exposure and going into making money from it, maybe transition from doing it as your part-time side hustle into going full-time. I have been there, I've done it all, so these are my pieces of advice for you. Take what you want, ignore the rest. I think the main issue that people have is photographers as a whole, or artists, or any creative industry. We generally suck at business. And it is annoying to us that we can't just go, here's some awesome photos I took online, and then we have people queuing up in our DMs and messaging us saying, hey, I want to book you. It doesn't happen. The reason why it doesn't happen is advertising and business and referrals and all this huge business pile up on one side. So what can you do today, end of 2022, what can you do to start getting bookings, or how do you break into the industry? Now, the mantra that I live by, it is better to be an okay photographer who's good at business than a good photographer who's bad at business. You can be 10 times better than the best wedding photographer in your area who charges £5,000 a day to shoot. If no one knows you exist, you are not going to get the bookings. You need to get into the wedding industry. How do you do that? Either follow the accidental route, which is you're a photographer, you're known as a photographer to your family and friends only, and one of your family or friends book you as a photographer. Maybe you don't charge them for the first event. Maybe you don't charge for the first 5 or 10 events that you do. And you get all of these free events, the exposure essentially, because that's what it is, exposure. And you put those online, you make a gallery or a website or an Instagram or whatever they do nowadays. Is it TikTok and Snapchat and stuff? Put it on there and fingers crossed you get more bookings. And through that you can slowly get more and more and more bookings. That's the free route, that's the easy route, but it is pure luck. It's how I got into it. So, I worked at a printing shop and someone came in and asked if I wanted to shoot their marriage renewal vows, and they asked how much I wanted to charge. I said 200 quid, and they went, oh, well, how about 400? And I was like, oh, £400 for a day's work? Oh yes, yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely. Didn't realise how hard it would be, and I ended up spending £3,000 on camera gear as a result. So I kind of had to stick with it to make that money back, but it all worked out in the end. So that's option one. Option two is to be an assistant or an associate or a trainee under some other established photographer's wing. Now, you may have seen in other videos, I work closely with another YouTuber, a guy called Kyle. He comes along to some of my bigger weddings. The first 5 or 6 weddings he shot with me last year, and I think 2019 potentially, he helped me out on for free. He was just there to see what was going on, to see how the structure of a day happened, to see the demands of a photographer, what you're expected of on a wedding day, how you're expected to control situations, to get lighting sorted, the schedule, the talking to guests and couples, that kind of stuff. So after the first 5 or so of them he did completely for free, 10-hour days, tough, big sell. He then was starting to shoot on the side. So he'd bring his camera and then he would give me those images. Again, free. I wasn't paying him. He wanted to do this for free. He gave me pictures. I gave them to the clients. The ratio of usable pictures, or pictures that we gave to the clients, slowly increased over time. So it became 400 of mine and 100 of his pictures. And then it was 400 of mine, 200 of his. And it started going up as he was going through the process of knowing this goes in this order, for this part of the wedding I need to be at this place with this setup at this setting, and through that, and then we made a deal, and we are now, I pay him a fixed rate for the day, he gives me the pictures, and I supply them as additionals on the higher packages that I offer. So that's the other route. Find somebody who is in the industry already, offer your services for free, they will use your pictures if they're good. You have to let that go. They will just take your pictures because you have to give something to them in order for you to come along and experience the situation. And from that, if you've got a good photographer you're learning from, they will let you use some of the pictures with the hopes that you will start booking your own, and then on the website you will start removing these old pictures that you took for this associate photographer. Start removing them off and have your own fully fledged career going forwards. So those are the two ways to get into it, really. The biggest obstacle that I see a lot is that people don't know when to make the jump to paid. I made a deal to myself, and I can remember when it was, because I was reading a book. I believe it's called the Win Without Pitching Manifesto, and it says that if you want to do free work, it has to be free. You can't have the other person dictate to you, I want you to do this to me for free. Someone will reach out with you for work, and if you believe it's a good cause or you believe that it will benefit you, you choose to do it for free. Every other option is paid. Paid or no work. Paid or no work. That's it. You don't do paid and then free because you need something. You can make the call on what is free or not. If a YouTuber or an Instagrammer with 1 million followers says, can you shoot my wedding? I would do it for free. I don't care. That even one picture is going to get me some exposure. If it is your cousin and it is a local wedding with 20 people and it is 100 miles away and they say, can you do it for free? You can choose to do it because they're family, or you can say no. It's okay to say no, put it that way. I haven't done a free gig, with the exception of some charity work, for about 6 years now. Now you go on to something like pricing. How do you know what to charge? Where do you charge? What are your levels? What kind of customers do you need to attract? This is 100% business now. Only advice I can give you is find out what the average in your area is and what they provide. Find out if your skill level is up to theirs, exceeds theirs, is different from theirs. Find out if you are better, cheaper, faster, or different. One of those people will buy. So someone will always find someone cheaper, someone will always find someone who is faster because they need to, show family the pictures in a week or something. Someone wants something different, and in photography, different is a huge world. You can be a black and white photographer, film photographer, you can do photo and video, you can do abstract images, you can paint over them. I don't know, there's loads of stuff out there. Find your niche, find what makes you different from the rest, and advertise that. For me, personal speaking now at this point, I was wondering why I kept booking people who were nerds. I would say that I'm a nerd. I grew up on Star Wars and Mega Drive games and all this nerdy stuff, Power Rangers and all that stuff. So when I started doing weddings and the entrance song for the bride coming down was from The Hobbit, or the wedding rings that they had Elvish inscribed on the inside, like the One Ring from Mordor. All this stuff, I was like, this is every single wedding now. Like a wedding cake with a Star Trek ship inside of it. Every single one. And I realised I'm not advertising on my website that I'm a nerdy person, I'm not a geek out person who you can be mates with. I wasn't doing that. As soon as I put that on my website, my bookings went up 3 times. And every single person now who books me is some kind of nerd. I did a Harry Potter themed one this year. I've done Guardians of the Galaxy this year. I've done... It's wonderful. Find what people find about you and, distill that into a paragraph on your website and put it there. Obviously your price, how much you want to charge per wedding, is subjective and is generally skill based at some point, but you will get to a level where your skills can't increase anymore and you've got to add value some other way. So for instance, this year I've started doing films alongside my photo, so I can shoot photo, and then with awesome cameras like this and the A7 III I got in my bag, and alongside a secondary photographer, we can shoot a short video. This appeals to people who want video, which is most people, I'll be honest, but also don't want to pretty much double their costs by hiring a videography team specifically. So getting into the industry, it's a tough one, I'll be honest. When do you make the break to go full-time? That can depend on if you have a full-time job and you can go down to part-time there to pay the bills and the mortgage or whatever. Maybe you don't have that need, and maybe you have another source of income or family, that kind of thing, and you can break into full-time at a lower level. There is nothing wrong at all with having it as a side hustle, a part-time job, full-time job. Doesn't make a difference. Having a secondary job does not affect the skill and the quality and how much you should charge the couple. What does it mean if you're full-time or you do 5 weddings a year or 50 weddings a year? If you're good, and you're charging the appropriate amount. Now, whilst I'm here, I might as well talk about other things, trends in the industries. I have, well, my first wedding was, I think, 9 years ago, maybe? I don't remember. I don't have it recorded on my content software. Trends in the industry, when I first started, you printed out everything, you gave them a CD. CDs. remember CDs. Gave them a CD with all the images, told them to go. Nowadays, it's digital, it's cloud-based. I still print photos because my previous job working in a printing shop, I believe in the quality of photos are perfect if you get them right. So I provide pictures, I provide albums, USB sticks if they want them. Providing things online requires subscription services, you have to have backup solutions. All of my data, in case this old thing goes down, I've got one hard drive here, a second hard drive here, third hard drive here, cloud backup in 2 different places. Doesn't matter what happens to this, my stuff's safe from a few seconds after I've imported it. Gear wise, when you're dealing with weddings, they are once in a lifetime events. You cannot repeat them, you have to get them right. It doesn't matter what camera you have, as long as you know how to use it. I'm using a Sony a7 IV, which granted is a newish, higher end camera. The reasons why I use it is because I need some of the features it has, the dual recording, the high video bit rate, the customizability, the high ISO, all this stuff. Doesn't matter which camera you have. Find what works for you and stick with it. The only caveat I'd have about that is don't base how much you charge based on how expensive your equipment is. I've seen those TikTok videos where people go, oh, why do you charge X amount? And they're like, well, this was 3,000, this was 4,000, this was... Doesn't make a difference. It doesn't affect how good you are as a photographer, it just means you got good kit. I would rather use cheaper equipment that does the exact job I need to do. Advertising. So I believe that when you're a wedding photographer, with the exception of buying your gear, your running costs are pretty low, let's be honest. If you're charging, example, £1,000 a day, and you deliver your photos on an online gallery which costs you £10 a month to run, and that's it, you're making near £1,000 profit for a day's work. Every other non-creative business on the entire planet has an advertising budget, a system, a funnel, campaigns, whatever. You need to learn how to do these. Some people like to use email campaigns. That involves advertising to a lot of people to get them to sign into a email list, and through the email list you send them awesome content you've created. It involves a lot of work on your end and upfront costs, but the idea is this pool is called a funnel because a lot of people start, less people get interested, the more down and more specific the emails get, to the end where you have a constant influx of people who are really interested in your business, really want to learn more, have watched every single video that you've put out, every single email advice you've put out, and they're ready to make a decision with you. Funnels, that's one. Second one, advertising, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. I've always found good success with Instagram ads. I make the ads through Facebook's ad manager. I target specific age ranges, specific locations, and run a series of ads which vary, pictures and content. And then you can monitor that through. So one of the reasons why I'm still on Facebook is just for the ad manager. In my personal opinion, I would happily spend £200 to £300 to get one booking worth 1,000. That's a grey area. I do bookings at 2,000, I do bookings at 1,200, all this stuff. I would spend a third to a quarter of my overall budget of how much I'm going to get as a booking to secure that booking. It's very important not to just rely on your post going viral or your mum sharing it on Instagram to get those bookings. You will still get some, but it's going to be a lot of a slower journey. I think I have probably spoken enough about weddings and how to get into the industry. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm very passionate about this subject. I have spent a long time doing it. I've made all the mistakes so you don't have to. Come at me in the comments if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, if you would have a suggestion, and maybe in the future I'll do a secondary follow-up on all the comments. If you like this content, stick around and subscribe. I will see you in a future video.